Hey guys, I'm Alistair and this is the Saucony Peregrine 15. Let's start with what this shoe is designed to do best, who it's targeted at. Well, it is very much an all-mountain trail running shoe, so that's the most versatile type of trail running shoe for anyone who wants to really run on any kind of terrain and experiment with different distances. So it's really the type of trail running shoe that's going to bring the most value to most trail runners. The Peregrine 15 has really balanced cushioning, meaning it's comfortable and cushioned underfoot, but it also has a good amount of response. There's no plate in here at all, but there's a good amount of flex in here and it does provide a nice amount of response. But that flex also gives you control on the trails as well, so it flexes as your feet would flex if you weren't wearing shoes. So I really like the fact that it gives you good control, and the traction is fantastic as well, making it a really good performer on technical trails. I'm going to start by going over some of the key specifications of a Peregrine 15 then. First off, they cost $140. That's incredibly reasonable for an all-mountain versatile trail running shoe like this. I will let you know by the end of this review though if I believe it's worth that price tag. They weigh 10 ounces or 283 grams for a size US men's 9, that's my pair. That, by the way, is pretty average for an all-mountain trail running shoe. They have a drop of 4 millimeters from heel to toe. That's 28 millimeters under the heel and 24 millimeters under the forefoot. So that's a pretty low stack height, which is good. Low stacks give you really good control and ground feel on the trails. A drop of 4 millimeters is pretty low, and that's also really good for trail running shoes because it gives you more of a natural footfall on the trails, which gives you much more control when tackling technical terrain. The midsole is using Power Run foam, which is really nicely cushioned, but also has good amount of response. I like the fact it feels cushioned on hard terrain, so if you do have to run to your trails, you've got some asphalt sections, then they feel incredibly comfortable for that, as well as being responsive on the trails. The outsole uses Power Track rubber compound, which is one of Saucony's proprietary rubber compounds, and the lugs on here are 5 millimeters deep, which is nice and aggressive. That's something you do want for all mountain trail running. The engineered upper mesh is very breathable, it's got a good amount of flex to it, and it's generally really comfortable. The collars and the heel counter, all very soft and cushioned. I really like the tongue. It's particularly long and very cushioned and soft, and it stays in place and it just feels really comfortable. I hate it when some trail running shoes have very thin tongues and they're just too short. So what ends up happening during a run is the laces will end up putting pressure on the top of your foot because the tongue slipped down. But Saucony's addressed this really well by putting a nice long stretchy padded tongue in there, and that doesn't happen. I also really like these little loops on the edges of the lacing system at the top. That gives a nice secure fit and gives you extra support to help stop your foot moving around within the shoe. I love the traditional lacing system. Very easy to get a nice, quick, secure fit. Heel lock in the shoe is fantastic as well, thanks to this upper. And also, there's a nice little loop, elasticated loop on the top, and that's designed to help stow your laces when you're running. The shoe does also use some recycled elements and vegan materials, which is really nice to see. Obviously, a lot more brands are doing this nowadays, and I really appreciate that. Got to take care of our planet, guys. Moving on to sizing and fit. Well, they're true to size and they have a medium width. But one thing I've noticed is there is a nice amount of room in the toe box, and that's really good. It's very important to have extra width there so that your toes can actually splay, especially important when you're running uphill, because you do want to be able to spread the pressure and get more power from your stride when you're pushing up the hill. And that really does come from having a wider toe box so that your toes can actually do what they were designed to do best. It also makes it nice and airy and breathable inside. If you're enjoying this review so far, please give it a like and share it with a friend if you think they're going to enjoy this review too. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more running shoe reviews just like this one. I always keep things genuine, honest, and as insightful as possible to help you decide whether or not the shoe I'm reviewing is going to be best for you. But if you have very specific circumstances, or you're really not sure what you're after, just let me know your circumstances. Let me know what type of running you enjoy, whether you like a cushioned running shoe or a more responsive one. Give me all these details and I'll get you hooked up with the best running shoes for you. And be sure to visit my blog trailandkale.com. There's tons more content on there, lots of running shoe reviews, but also running accessory reviews, roundups of the best gear in each category, training plans if you're training for your next race, and also loads of advice on there. So definitely head over there, subscribe to my newsletter, and you'll get all the latest and greatest running content straight to your inbox. Well, congratulations, you made it to my performance review. I'm going to start by going over the things that I really like about the Peregrine 15. First thing I'm going to mention then is just general overall comfort. This is something that's become very familiar to me with Saucony running shoes as of late. That goes for road running and trail running shoes. Saucony's just really good at putting out very comfortable running shoes. There's nothing incredibly fancy going on with their shoes, but they just concentrate on comfort and performance rather than doing any too quirky features on there. It's just really fantastic out the box feel on their running shoes, and that's exactly the same with the Peregrine 15. So I just love how they feel straight out the box. And a lot of that is because of the very comfortable upper with this nice cushioned collars and heel counter and traditional lacing setup. Everything just works. It's breathable as well, so my feet feel comfortable when I'm doing challenging climbs or just running at a very high intensity in warmer weather. So super comfortable. Also the midsole, that power run foam, just gives a really nice balance of cushioning and response, which is really what you want on the trails. You don't want an overly cushioned plush running shoe, because if you imagine running over technical terrain and your shoe is compressing because you've got a high stack height and it's super compressible foam, then you're going to be rolling around as you stand on rocks and such like that. So you need a supportive, responsive midsole to be able to give you control on technical trails and let you adapt to the changing ground beneath you. Because a trail is going to be changing throughout your run, unlike road running where you've just got solid asphalt or concrete. So you really have to be tuned into what your midsole is doing when you are choosing a trail running shoe, especially an all-mountain trail running shoe. Next thing I'm going to mention is the traction of this outsole. So it is using Power Track rubber compound with 5mm lugs on there. And actually this compound has performed incredibly well. I'm not hugely familiar with PowerTrack rubber compound, but it's been performing just as well as Vibram's Mega Grip, which is incredible. That's best in class right now. I'm going to be continuing running in this shoe, so I will let you know as conditions change how they perform in different conditions. But it's been very muddy, sloppy mud. I've had wet rocks, wet roots, all that kind of stuff that generally does trip up a trail running shoe outsole. And it's been fantastic, so no complaints there. I really like how the lugs also creep around the front of the outsole. This gives you traction when you're climbing up steep inclines. So if you imagine got an incline here, you need some traction on the front of the shoe, not just the bottom. It needs to be on the front so you can actually dig into the trail when you're climbing upwards. I'm getting mud all over my studio here. Bring in the vacuum. And this traction not only performs well on inclines going up, but also declines on steep technical trails. I'm probably overlaying videos now or earlier on, which demonstrates some of the trails that I've been testing these shoes in. And I have gone pretty technical, and I can confirm these are fantastic when it comes to traction and control. I also like the little touches on this shoe, like the little loops on the upper, and generally the support of the upper does kind of stabilize your foot within the shoe, and the low stack height in the midsole gives you some good stability as well. But also there's an elasticated loop on the front, which is a nice touch. A lot of trail running shoes are including these nowadays. But all that does is allow you to stow the laces in there once you've done them up, and they won't be flapping around and they won't come undone. There's a finger loop at the rear too. The mesh material is reinforced It's very durable, and there are overlay areas where there are these plastic overlays in the toe cap, which has pretty good reinforcement. So if you do kick a rock or a root, maybe you're at the end of a run and your legs are getting tired, so you're kind of dragging your feet a little bit, there is protection there if you do hit them on a root or something. But not only does that protect your toes, but it also protects the upper, stops it from ripping or tearing. I'm just going to round up this section by saying I'm absolutely loving the price. This right here is the best all-mountain trail running shoe you can get for $140 right now. And I know I said that with the Cascadia 18, but I'm saying it with this one as well. I put this alongside the Cascadia 18 in terms of what value you get for the shoe. But I feel like this one maybe just has the edge ever so slightly. Both fantastic trail running shoes. Also, the Catamount 3 is fantastic. So I'm going to put links up there as I mentioned them, but also in the descriptions. So you can watch my video reviews of those shoes too. And you can weigh up your options as to which all-mountain trail running shoe is going to be best for you. I do have a best trail running shoes roundup on trailandkale.com, which I regularly update. As and when trail running shoes I review are good enough, I will add them to that list. So if you're watching this video in the future, I recommend heading over there to check what my favorite trail running shoes are right now. On that roundup, I do separate or categorize my running shoes into 3 categories. That is the all-mountain category, the most versatile category of trail running shoe. Trail racing category, which is lightweight, minimal, super fast, highly capable trail running shoes on technical terrain. And the third category, which is road to trail running shoes. The versatile shoes that can run on roads, but also trails. So they're great for beginners who just want to be able to run on roads and trails whenever they want to dip into that. Moving on to some things you should know about the Peregrine 15 before buying them. So I mentioned before, there is no rock plate or speed plate within the shoe, meaning it doesn't have as much propulsion as, say, the Catamount 3 or a carbon fiber plate trail running shoe. But it's not really a racing shoe, although you could 100% use it as a racing shoe, and I might in fact do that this year. But it won't have the snappiness of a shoe with a plate. So don't expect a super fast shoe. This is just highly capable and highly versatile in terms of doing everything really well. And with a plate, you do lose performance on things like climbs because you're fighting the tension of the plate as you're trying to push up the hill, depending on the tension of that plate, of course. Plates also do reduce stability and control on technical trails too, which makes them better for flatter, long runs where you just want to go all out speed on trails. So these are things that you need to weigh up when choosing your trail running shoes. Also, the lower drop of 4mm is fantastic in my opinion. I love running in lower drops because it's more natural and you do get a better feel of the trail beneath you and you get really good response and control because of it. But if you're not used to a lower drop, just be aware that you will need to get used to it. Your leg muscles, like your calves for example, will be working harder in a lower drop. But that's all good. Within time, you're going to be seeing a much better form from your running style and also better performance because you've got a lower drop. So just stick with it. You will get used to it pretty quickly, within a week I imagine, and then you won't want to go back to a higher drop, especially if you're in the trail running scene. That's really all I've got for the downsides. On to my final verdict then. Is it worth $140? Well, yes, 100%. This is incredible value for only $140. In fact, I don't know how Saucony is doing that. It's a fantastic price. You have to go buy it, and this is why. The Saucony Peregrine 15 delivers fantastic traction, really nice moderate cushioning, which gives you really good response as well, considering there's no plate in there. A really nice low stack height and low drop, which gives you a really nice natural ride on the trails, but also allows you to have good control and response to changing terrains underfoot. It's just incredibly comfortable. And it is great for all distances because it is so comfortable and you've got a really nicely balanced ride from this midsole power run foam. It makes it really good for long distances, so you could run ultras in these no problem at all. So for all those reasons, and the fact it's only $140 for an all-mountain versatile trail running shoe like this, that is why it's the best trail running shoe for $140. Personally, I'm going to be logging a lot more miles in these trail running shoes this spring. Well, thanks for watching this Saucony Peregrine 15 review. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give the video a like. It really helps me and my channel, and I just really like seeing likes. I don't know what it is. Share it with a friend and subscribe to my channel for more running shoe reviews just like this one. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next review. Peace.